Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All righty, we are back with you talking about guns, of course, and politics, what's going on out there, and also new products. Things are going on. Of course, this is the time for new product introductions. There'll be a lot of them at the SHOT Show coming up in 2.5 weeks, something like that. We were talking earlier, got a call with a range report about the Springfield Armory XD Mod 2. And then I just got this email from Springfield Armory. They said, hey, you may want to tell people about this. Pretty cool. They have a product launch coming up. Looks like, I'm reading this as we go, starting January the 8th, from January 8th to the 17th, they're going to be announcing a new product, 19 new products actually, announcing at least one product every day. If you go to, this is the website now, remember this because this is cool because they're going to be giving them away. They're going to be giving away guns. The website is 1950, like the year 1950, 1950, 1950.springfield-armory.com. So again, 1950.springfield-armory.com. You go there once a day, enter for a chance to win. You'll get the news about the new releases from Springfield Armory. I mentioned it's a time for politics. We have President Obama. He's going to do something because he hasn't been able to convince the public of his vision that somehow taking guns away from honest people or restricting guns from honest people will make bad people turn good. Duh. He can't get Congress to do what he wants. So he says, well, to heck with the will of the people, I'll just do it on my own. So he's going to take some kind of unilateral executive action. But what's going on is bigger than that. And as you go way back and look at the 50,000-foot view of this, it's happening in a lot of states. We just saw Virginia, the governor and the attorney general there making changes in where you can carry, and also in the case of the attorney general, saying that we are going to void reciprocity agreements, concealed carry agreements, with 25 of the 50 states. Half the states were going to void our agreements. So if you're in one of those 25 states, your permit's no longer good here. And if you're in Virginia and you want to carry in those states, there's a good chance that state will be rescinding the reciprocity also. Of course, it also sets up the perfect scenario for more Shaneen Allen type of debacles, where someone who doesn't get the memo on this goes into Virginia with her concealed carry permit and gun, and then finds out that permit's no longer good there. Shaneen Allen, of course, being the woman who was arrested, put in jail, and they tried to put her in prison for 3 years because she didn't know her permit was not good in New Jersey. Over on the other side of the country, a little left or west coast, we have new laws. In fact, we'll be talking about new laws. We've got a new law in Texas where, of course, open carry is now allowed. And there's been, of course, thousands and thousands of shootings, mass shootings by the hour in Texas as a result of open carry there. Not. But in California, there's a new law there that deserves your attention. And no one is better at explaining that than Gene Hoffman with the CalGuns Foundation. Hello, Gene.
Hello, Tom. How are you?
I am well. I started to try to explain this, and I thought, nope, I am not going to do it because there's a very real possibility I don't fully understand this, and only people on the ground do. Explain what has happened and what it actually really truly does mean.
Well, the first point is that California has so much gun control that they have to come up with really creative things to do new. They've added this thing called a gun violence restraining order. And the idea is that either your immediate family or a police officer can go get a judge to give them a restraining order that will take away your guns. It's not a completely crazy concept, but of course it ignores the fact that California police officers have the ability to take anyone in for observation for mental health issues under what's called 5150 statutes. So, it's kind of, layer upon layer, but the bigger problem is it's the family issue. Imagine being an adult with kids and your mother doesn't like the way you're raising your children, knows you have a gun collection. She can go in and get an ex parte A, this is where no one else but her goes to court, order to take your guns away for a year. You're not there. So she could go in and make a claim of either mental incompetence or in the for your others.
Or danger yourself, or in the case of someone who's involved in a divorce, he has guns and he has threatened me.
Yep. Look, that already happens. I mean, that part right there happens all the time. Without this, it's going to only get worse.
Right. And then, a judge who hasn't talked to the party who has the guns, hasn't looked at both sides of this, just issues the restraining order. And as one judge told me, yeah, that's an F-14. I said, what is that? He said, well, it's the key up there on the keyboard, F-14. I just punch those out. I just do that. Really? Okay. And so he just punches it out. All of a sudden there's a restraining order and they can come pick up your guns. No notice, right? And no immediate appeal. You can actually, you have 21 days to appeal? How's that work?
Yeah. Well, you can come back into court later, but the thing is you have to show that, somehow you're not, and proving negative is always a problem.
Is there, this is a crazy question, I know, is there any hope for California?
Yes, but it's going to come from the long-term courts taking seriously this right. We've had a dicey last couple of years, but at the same time, there are glimmers of hope. We're going to probably proceed on and prevail on a case about whether gun stores can be redlined in California. We've already won at lower courts that the 10-day waiting period doesn't make sense for people who already own guns. There are glimmers of hope for California, but it's going to come from our civil rights in federal courts.
So with the supermajority in the legislature, that's not where it's going to be happening. So you're really having to go to the courts now.
That's right. It's kind of like it's the reverse of Alabama in the in the 60s, where everyone was very clear that black people shouldn't have rights. Well, in California, everyone's very clear that gun owners shouldn't have rights, and it takes a while. But the reality is the federal courts tend to be pretty good over the long haul of recognizing that the entire Constitution matters.
As you look at and I know you are a very good planner. You guys are working like 3D chess all the time. And you have, this case and that case and this case, and you're looking years down the road. How optimistic are you at this point?
Well, sooner or later, we have to have the Heller Five come back together and take a case. Right now, that is the number one risk, I think, to everyone's guns rights. And this really underlines, you get the future that you elect. This next election is going to be extremely important. Two or three more people appointed by the wrong person on Supreme Court is the end of gun rights for 50 to 100 years.
Okay, let me say that again, because I'm not sure people really catch that. And I agree completely. Let me just put it in these terms. If Hillary Clinton gets elected to the presidency, to the White House, it means the end of gun rights for the next 50 to 100 years because of the appointments to the Supreme Court, right? And of course, all the other federal courts.
Exactly. And, the federal courts are the thorn bush that you have to kind of navigate to even get to the Supreme Court, right?
And of course, Obama has loaded up federal courts like crazy. Now, talk to me for a second. This is not a California issue, but the idea of the executive action that we hear is coming. What are you hearing? What do you think he's going to do?
Well, he's going to sit there with Anderson Cooper on Monday and George Mason and try to explain how he's going to overrule, 40 or 50 years of federal law. It's really, in some ways, ironic because, of course, under the Clinton administration, the push was to keep people from having FFLs. So the so-called kitchen table FFLs were all put out of business. And the rumblings are that he's going to reverse that and force us all back to getting FFLs, which I find really ironically hilarious.
Yeah, there were 270,000 people who had FFLs before the Clinton administration said, oh, no. You guys can't have FFLs. You don't need them. You're not actually in the business. So they cut down on the number of people who had FFLs. Now we're going to go the other way. Let me also ask you to draw another parallel to Clinton. 1994 election, the Clinton gun ban, the crime bill, actually cost the Democrats control of Congress. After 40 years of controlling Congress, the Democrats lost, and even Bill Clinton in the State of the Union address said it was because of their vote on the crime bill, on the Clinton gun ban, the so-called assault weapons ban. Could Obama be setting up the Democrats for a massive loss as a result of this?
Absolutely could be. I mean, it was surprising and positive to me that, when we polled right after the San Bernardino disaster, assault weapon bans are now opposed by a majority of Americans. In some ways, thank you, Obama, for beating the, gun control drum, the one that Bill Clinton himself told Democrats to stop doing.
Amazing. And even the Democrat playbook, and it's available online, weirdly enough, still, their whole media playbook, which is don't talk about guns, basically underplay it, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what's happened. Maybe it's the Bloomberg money that has made them feel more comfortable, but a lot of them, including Hillary Clinton, are coming out and saying, yep, we're in favor of gun bans. We're going to ban the most popular guns in America.
Yeah, the thing is, it's crazy, is they keep doing this and then they get recalled in Colorado or, lose major elections they should have otherwise won. It is really surprising to me that the political, suicide effect of this doesn't seem to have much of a corrective action for them to understand that it's a dangerous and, in fact, losing problem for them.
Do they live in that much of an echo chamber? Is that what's going on?
It almost has to be. I mean, it has to be that they're stuck on the coasts in the places that completely don't understand what it's like to live in Texas or in Oregon or in, Alabama. I mean, these are people who I think never get there.
And as a result, and I know this for a fact, they really do think less of those people. They really do think we are uneducated, unsophisticated, and actually need to be taken care of.
Well, look, it's, this core argument that somehow the Anti-Federalists were idiots. And it's, in fact, exactly the reverse. Without them, I think we would be in a very dangerous place today.
Exactly. Well, Neil, I really, Gene, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your help, your work out there. Please keep us posted. And, we're with you in spirit, if not in body, out there in California, because we know that you are fighting on that wall to keep that stuff from oozing across the rest of the country.
Thanks, Tom. All
right, you take care. Gene Hoffman from CalGuns Foundation. By the way, if you're in California, you need to be a part of that, and just go to calguns.net and also look up CalGuns Foundation. Good organizations. All right, open lines for you. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
Want to customize the look of your firearm and give it ultimate durability? Well, don't paint it, Cerakote it. Cerakote is a spray-on ceramic polymer coating that uses state-of-the-art technology to achieve superior abrasion resistance and corrosion protection. Field-proven and trusted by manufacturers and gun owners like you, Cerakote is the industry's unmatched performance leader. In lab testing and real-world applications, Cerakote outperforms the competition every time. See for yourself and find a local certified applicator near you at Cerakote.com. Choose the best. Choose Cerakote and finish strong.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Battlegroup. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
In the fight for gun rights, we need ammunition, intellectual ammunition. And no one does it better than researcher John Lott, author of More Guns, Less Crime. John created the Crime Prevention Research Center to counter the junk studies being done to push gun control. But he doesn't have the big bucks of billionaires like Michael Bloomberg. All he has is us. So I'm asking for your help. Go to crimeresearch.org and donate what you can. This research makes all the difference. People ask what they could do to help preserve the Second Amendment. Honestly, this is one of the best moves you can make. If you can give a lot, that's great, but even the cost of a box of ammo helps. We need John Lott's intellectual ammunition. Go to crimeresearch.org. It's time to step up. crimeresearch.org.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
All right, I got a story to tell you, something to share. I'll get to that in just a second. First, let's go to Kevin on line 2. He's in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Doing good, Tom. I appreciate your question about making resolutions. And about 10 years ago, I resolved that my family would not remain ignorant about gun laws and gun issues. So I decided to give lifetime memberships to my family, and have given about 36 out altogether. Every time we talk about what was in the last issue, and we talk about what we heard on GUNTALK.
You're talking about life memberships to the NRA?
Life memberships to the NRA. Gave 36 to my immediate family and extended family.
Wow. Holy cow. Well, it does help get the conversation started, because one of the things we have a problem with is if we don't have a shared base, just a baseline of knowledge, you can't get very far into the conversation because there's so much misinformation, there's so many misconceptions. Don't you agree?
Exactly right. There's just so much anti-gun propaganda and out-and-out lies that I felt they needed to know the truth, and those were the two places to go, NRA magazines and GUNTALK.
Well, I appreciate being included in that. And you are so right about there being purposeful misinformation and lies when we have the media saying, well, there have been 355 active shooters, mass shootings, 355 mass shootings in America this year. No, there have been 4, according to the FBI. But they keep repeating this over and over. And when a politician says it, they don't say, well, isn't that according to this goofy website and not the FBI? I mean, the media doesn't ask them. And so if that gets repeated enough, people think, oh, wow, it's just terrible. We've got this epidemic of gun violence, and it plays right into that thing, when in fact gun violence is down by half, murders are down by half, and we have more guns, more people carrying guns, more gun owners, but crime keeps going down. I cannot thank you enough, Kevin. Thank you so much for what you have done there, and keep at it. That's a serious financial commitment on your part, but you're taking care of your family. All right, here's the letter I wanted to share with you. I'm not going to give out the person's name, okay? Said he was listening to one of our shows, a Reloaded show. He said about a guy who's having a hard time convincing his wife of the importance of carrying her firearm on a regular basis. He said, I have a story that may help to drive that point home. I was in the same position. My wife was slower to come into the world of firearms than I. However, she is also a very intelligent person with an analytical mind. So I was frustrated with her failure to carry consistently. This sounds very familiar. As a person that worked as a corrections officer in the past and currently works as a firefighter, I am frequently brought into contact with many of the less desirable elements of society. So I have very few illusions as to how safe or dangerous our world is. Her response to my worries was, well, I know that you're carrying, so I don't really feel like I need to. This went on for several months. Then one evening, we were out on a date, left the kids with the relatives, and decided to attend a late-night movie. It was the last showing, and there was minimal staff at the theater. It says we were in a mostly empty theater. For some reason, a man came in, scanned the multitude of empty seats. In other words, it's a mostly empty theater, and decided to sit right behind us. That was enough to get my attention and set my spider sense tingling. But I simply attributed it to me being paranoid. About halfway through the movie, my wife needed to use the restroom. She got up and made her way out of the theater. She was not carrying her gun, and she left her purse with its pepper spray sitting in her seat. Immediately after she left, the man sitting behind us got up and exited as well. This set my radar off, but once again attributed this to paranoia. I did, however, start counting off the minutes in my head. When I reached the usual time it would take her to return from a restroom break, I started to worry. After a couple more minutes, I had just decided to get up and investigate when she came back into the theater. She was visibly shaken. The stranger had followed her to the restroom and was waiting for her when she came out. He was blocking her way and acting odd. She was alone, and there was no one else in the restroom. Thankfully, one of the employees happened to be walking by and noticed the situation. He called in a manager, and they started to ask the man if he was in need of assistance. He started to mutter incoherently and shift from foot to foot while looking around nervously. That's when my wife extricated herself and returned to the theater. We both learned a lesson that night. She learned that she needs to carry her gun whenever possible. I learned to trust my instincts and never discount my gut when it says something is out of place. How many times have I told you we push down these feelings, these survival instincts that we have? Oh, it's nothing. Oh, those guys, they're kind of a little wild and crazy over there, but they don't really mean anything. Oh, I don't want to react to that because he might think I'm racist and profiling. Oh, I'm not going to go over there because somebody might think blah, blah, blah. And we push it down and we push it down and we don't listen to this little voice going off. And I don't care who it is or what they're, what they look like, if they're male, if they're female, if they're polka dotted, I don't care. It's behavior. It's behavior. It's behavior. And if there's something in the back of your head going ding, 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 listen to it. It may be faint. We may have pushed it down with all this quote-unquote civilization we have, but that's the thing that can keep you alive. It's what kept our caveman ancestors alive. Listen to it. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. Get some training, ramp up your awareness. My God, please learn from this. You don't want to learn this on your own firsthand.
Broadcasting nationwide, you're listening to Gun Talk. And now, back to Tom.
Alrighty. By the way, if you downloaded the Gun Dealio app for your smartphone, that's our cool app that saves you money, gets you all the deals. Be sure to update that app regularly because we're always making improvements to it. And if you've got the version, if you downloaded it 2 or 3 months ago, we've made some really cool improvements to it. So you need to make sure you update that, go to the App Store or wherever and do the updates on that. Also, we've got some really good deals and it's only available, here's the deal, only available through Gun Dealio. We've got all of our DVDs and hats and everything we have from Gun Talk. If you go to shopguntalk.com, you can buy them, but you'll pay more if you use the Gun Dealio app. And we have what we show there as an exclusive deal. That's, of course, because it's ours. If you use the exclusive deal, you get 15% discount at shopguntalk.com, but only if you use Gun Dealio for that. By the way, Guns and Gear and Gun Talk Television now on Sportsman Channel year-round. So right now you can see Guns and Gear and Gun Talk on Sportsman Channel. So this week we do a whole bunch of fun stuff with Max Michel, Rob Latham, Smith & Wesson's Paul Pluff, Double Tap Ammo's Mike McNett, Nosser's Zach Waterman. We just kind of ring it all out. We're having a bunch of fun. Well, hey, we get to shoot guns. How's that not fun? Let's see here. Line 1, Doc is with us out of Arkansas. Hello, Doc.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a big fan.
You bet. What's going on?
I was wondering, and I was hoping that Gene Hoffman would still be around to answer a question, but I saw a survey this past week on Wednesday, and the caption on it said, California gun control supporters backpedaling. Now, that survey that they did surveyed 1,000 gun control supporters in California, and they had a whole list of questions that they asked them, but the one question that came in, mine in particular, was, in the event you were in the building in San Bernardino, would you have wanted someone with a gun? And 994 of those people answered yes to that question.
Wow.
The others hung up the phone. But in getting ready for my question to you today, I went in and I tried to pull up the thread again, pull up that survey again to get my facts in order, and the thread is completely gone. Imagine that.
That happens. We'll get these surveys or these polls that particularly from the media, where they think it's definitely going to go, the public wants more gun control. Then they do a survey or a poll online, and then they're losing like 90 to 10%. And then like 2 days later, the poll is gone. It's just not there. So there's no ethics and there's no honesty in reporting what's actually going on, because they want to be able to say, see, everybody wants more gun control. The public wants this. And it's those dirty old rotten gun owners and the Republicans and the NRA that they're just taking over the political process. Well, no, actually they're participating in the political process. And when you do real polls, and to thank you for your call, Doc, I appreciate that. When you do real polls, you find that no, the public doesn't want to ban guns. In fact, for the first time ever, majority of the public does not want to ban semi-automatic rifles, so-called assault weapons, because I think the public's finally figured out that they have been lied to continuously for more than 20 years. They've been told that these rifles are machine guns. They're not. They've been told that they have no use other than killing lots of people. That's a lie. A whole bunch of people now are using them for hunting everywhere, or competition. A lot of the competition, you have to have one of these rifles. Yeah, Jim says, yeah, but it could be true. Maybe one of these days, possibly. But I think the public is waking up to this. And also I think the public looks at something like San Bernardino and says, okay, the cops got there quickly, but 14 people died. And those who are saying, well, no, it would just be terrible to have someone with a gun in there, they're going, wait a minute. How could it have been made worse? If someone had a gun and started shooting back at the terrorist, how does that make it worse? Somebody explain that to me. And the public has a pretty good BS filter if you can get the information to them. And frankly, I'm going to spin this back around. That's where Michael Bloomberg comes in, because he's been really good at dominating the messaging, pouring millions of dollars. He created these AstroTurf groups, Every Town for Gun Safety and some Americans for something. They're basically just Obama mouthpieces. But they get quoted a lot in the media because, of course, the media is in the tank for gun control, obviously. When was the last time the media asked President Obama when he says epidemic of gun violence? I say, but sir, according to the FBI, gun crimes are down by half, murders are down by half. How can a reduction of 50%, which is phenomenal, how can that equate to being an epidemic? Have you ever? Let's just see if Anderson Cooper asked that question to President Obama when they do their town hall meeting this week. I would not bet the farm on it. I would not bet a cookie on it. There you go. Let's see here. Tell you what, don't go anywhere, Philip. Don't go anywhere, Michael. We're going to get to you in just a second. I got to take a quick break here because I have run over again. Tell you what, if you'd like to be a part of this, 866-TALK-GUN or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back.
Experts agree that the low-range variable rifle scope is best for most situations. Now, Trijicon offers a stunning 1-to-6 power variable in the AccuPoint line. Featuring a battery-free illuminated reticle, superior glass clarity, and rugged construction, it's the one scope you need for hunting and competition. Long eye relief, aircraft-grade aluminum housing, manual brightness override, See the 1 to 6 power AccuPoint at Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
No matter what gun you have, you want it to hit harder, shoot faster and flatter, and be more accurate. You get all that with the ammunition from Double Tap. Double Tap's experts select the best bullets, then load them to higher velocities while keeping safe pressures. Shoot small groups. Shoot farther. Use custom hunting loads in your handgun or rifle. Even fire 2 projectiles with 1 shot. DoubleTapAmmo.com. That's DoubleTapAmmo.com.
You're at a gun store and your phone tells you about hot deals. Want to know about special offers? No problem when you have Gun Dealio, the free app for your smartphone. Gun Dealio delivers the latest deals on guns, ammo, and extras direct to your phone. Don't overpay for your shooting gear. Get Gun Dealio. It's free at the App Store and Google Play. Trigger the deals with Gun Dealio. GunDealio.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at ShopGunTalk.com. Get prepared. ShopGunTalk.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Goodness, this just moments ago popped up. I just printed it out. I'm reading it really on the air, which is always dangerous. But Brooklyn, this is New York, Brooklyn lawmakers seek to tightly restrict sales of ammo statewide. Wait for it. When you thought it couldn't get more repressive, here we go. Bill would limit bullet purchases to twice the gun's capacity. State lawmakers from Brooklyn announced on Monday new draft legislation aimed at tightly restricting the sale of ammunition in New York. The Senate and Assembly bills were drafted in an effort, wait for this, to keep potential terrorists from stocking up on ammo. The legislation would place a strict limit on the number of bullets, i.e. cartridges, a gun owner could purchase over a 90-day time period and prevent gun dealers from selling ammunition for a firearm to anyone unauthorized to have such a weapon. So if your gun holds 15 rounds, you could buy 30 rounds. Wow. Wow. The disconnect between these people and the real world is galactic. Wow. And yeah, terrorists really do depend upon being able to go into Joe's gun store. Not. Oh my goodness. But it does show you cannot compromise 1 inch. Because there is no intermediate position where they say, okay, that's enough, we've gone far enough with restricting your gun rights. The only position where they will stop is when you are not able to own a gun and they have literally, quite literally, been confiscated from your home. That is the only position where they will stop. If you're not willing to go with them to that place, then don't give an inch. Because they never give an inch. Their idea of compromise is they get some gun control and we lose some gun rights. Because they compromise because they didn't get total gun control and we didn't lose all our guns. Yet. So my position on compromise is, yes, sure, I'll compromise with you. Rather than repeal every single gun law in the country, which should be done, yes, I just said that, we'll repeal only half of them at this time. This is a battle for life. You have to be engaged, you have to be involved, you have to spend some money, you have to spend some time. You have to be willing to have your name on a list. Really? I don't want to be on a list. People died. They bled to death in the mud so you could have your name on a list. You could stand up and be a patriot. Don't come up to me and tell me you don't want to have your name on a list. Oh, I don't want to join the NRA because I don't want my name on a list. Well, you know what? There are some places you should be damn proud to have your name. That would be one. That would be a good start. All right, that's line 4. Philip's with us out of Glasgow, Kentucky. Hey, Philip, talk to me.
Tom, how are you?
I'm good.
I apologize for being off topic today, but I need a little information. A couple of years ago, you talked about how older outdoor sports writers were retiring, and these young hunters that had writing skills needed to get to writing and submitting their articles. My son-in-law is a bush pilot and Alaskan avid hunter, and the last 2 weeks I finally talked him into writing about one of his most interesting hunts. And I would like to know what he needs to do as far as organizations he needs to contact, publications, that sort of thing, to where he can get his story published.
Every magazine has a identifier on it of where to send contributions. You can just go in over the transom, as we call it, unsolicited, and send them in that way. It is imperative that he has good photographs, because magazines use a package of photographs and writing. So you really are a photojournalist when you're writing for outdoor magazines, because you have to get the pictures as well as the writing. And if he has that, and anything involves Alaska is always interesting to a lot of people. What's the basis of the story? What's the crux of it, if you can give it to me in a sentence or two?
A grizzly bear hunt with his cousin and friend, and they hunt, and actually they hunt for moose and bear. They encounter wolves along the way, and that's the most, I guess, interesting part of the story is the wolf pack. Okay.
Well, the thing is, I've told this story a lot. For those who don't know, I was a magazine editor for 20 years and I've written for magazines pretty much all my life.
Yes, sir.
Every magazine editor has more material that he or she can use, and at the same time, every magazine editor is hungry for good material. So that's that interesting crux. And so if it's good, you can break through. Maybe not easy at first.
Yes, sir.
I would start with the magazines. Start with the magazines that he likes. If he likes Field and Stream, Outdoor Life, whatever, maybe it's Alaska Magazine. Maybe it's Alaska Sportsman. Maybe it's AOPA Magazine. Although they're aviation, but they're not hunting exactly. But start by just sending it in, and they will have their contributors' guidelines, and they'll tell you how to do it. Each magazine has those. If they don't, just send them an email. There'll be something on the magazine that says, hey, can you send me a copy of your contributors' guidelines, and go from there. And then here's the thing. Send it out and forget about it. Write another one. Send it out, forget about it. I had a friend who said he always wanted to have 100 articles out being considered. If you have only one out and it gets rejected, it feels terrible. If you have 20 of them out and one of them gets rejected, it's not a big deal. So get going, get cranking. Writing about this stuff is fun. It is just fun to get your work published. I always enjoy the writing aspect of this. 866-TALK-GUN. Give me a holler. A lot of sports fans out there. A lot of people who love sports. Are you a fan of professional basketball, the NBA. Did you see what they did recently? The NBA has joined forces with Michael Bloomberg and hired Spike Lee to direct PSAs, public service announcements, featuring NBA players pushing gun control. I want to throw up. Michael Bloomberg, Mr. Anti-Gun himself, billionaire, Spike Lee directed him, who famously said that someone should shoot Charlton Heston in the head with a .44 Bulldog revolver. Yeah, that's what he said. And they're making these PSAs and running them during NBA televised events. Pretty disgusting. Really is. Let's see, line 2. Michael's with us. Tioga, North Dakota. Hey, Michael.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for taking my call. Big fan.
Sure.
I am just curious. It has me baffled that the leader of the greatest country in the world is pushing an agenda that lacks anything to do with stiffer sentencing for violent criminals, as opposed to the direction he's taking that only affects those of us who are law-abiding citizens.
Well, he's been consistent at this. He's always said he doesn't think anyone should own a gun in this country. And he, even when, as a candidate, he was in favor of gun bans. On his official White House webpage, they list that he is in favor of gun bans, and he's been pushing gun bans. So there's nothing new going on here. This is Barack Obama. This is who got reelected got elected twice. He's always been a gun banner, and the American public has voted him into office twice.
And that is so sad. That is not going to fix the problem. We should have a certain degree or level of crime in the violent crime arena that says once you reach this level, you know, all of the bargaining and all of the early outs and the good behavior deals and all of those things are off the table. This is what your sentence is going to be, and you're going to serve it, period.
I got an idea. You know what Obama could do? And people say, well, there's not much he could do. Actually, there is one thing he could do. It kind of goes along with what you're saying. Instead of saying this week, I'm going to have an executive action that restricts sales at gun shows, which will do nothing, of course. How about if he said, all right, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to direct through our Attorney General, I'm going to direct all of the U.S. attorney offices around the country to start forcefully pushing the felon in possession of a gun charge. You cannot find a U.S. attorney who will bring federal charges against someone on the felon in possession of a gun. Then they have these guys who have been arrested 12 times for violent crimes. They have, murder convictions, and they catch them again. And they say, well, we can't do anything about them. Well, maybe the state can't or won't, but the feds can, and you get sent to federal prison. That's real time. If Barack Obama wanted to do something that actually would have an effect, because we often have the bad guys in our hands as society, and then we let them go. We know who they are. It's the same ones doing it over and over again. How about stop the catch and release program and just hold on to them? There you go. Arrest the felons that fill out the 4473 forms, too. But there would be some baggage with that because, of course, that's not... He doesn't want to put more people in prison because he thinks America should be ashamed that we have so many people in prison. Yeah. Of course, he keeps apologizing for America. He doesn't think we're exceptional. He thinks that, frankly, we have been the cause of a lot of the world's problems. But that's okay. He's going to fundamentally change America, and he's well on his way to doing it.